we have in our offices today one of India's most celebrated actors, Anant Nag. He is here for a very special interview. And thank you very much, sir. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here in our offices today.
Same here. Thank you.
Let's start at the beginning with your childhood. You grew up in coastal Karnataka.
Yes.
And your education was rooted in religion.
Yes.
Your father was associated with a mutt and your mother was associated with an ashram. Did you ever imagine as a child that you would grow up to be an actor?
No. In fact, I had no inkling at all of that. But that kind of an education, I studied in school in, say, Udupi, in Chitrapur, in Chirali, then Honavar. And I used to participate in these skits and one-act plays and things like during my schooling days, especially in Honavar. So the idea of becoming an actor and all, not even crossed my mind for it. But I was good at imitating people. I used to imitate, and I used to send people around in the peals of laughter. But then, after my 8th standard, my father sent me off to Bombay, from a Kannada medium to English medium school, St. Joseph's High School. And I found going a little difficult because from having grown up in a kind of a almost rural background, semi-urban maybe. From there to Kannada medium to English, and that to high-flown English in Bombay, I found it a little difficult. So I used to be somewhere in the first 5 as a student in schools. But I was very proficient in ashram and mutt with this mantras and singing and playing the tabla or the harmonium and etc. But when this shift took place from Kannada to English, I fell behind, and then almost in my school days, in the 9th particularly, I passed in all languages. Like we had Marathi was compulsory there, Sanskrit, Hindi, and English, and mathematics. But the other subjects, I could not express myself in English. Nevertheless, he being from a village kind of a background, and they said, okay, let's pass him up, and they pushed me up. But in 10th standard, it became more tough, and that year they detained me in fact, 9th I used to be in the first 5. There I was in the last 5. And when I failed in the 10th standard, it kind of crushed me. And I was away from parents and a very protective kind of an atmosphere in ashram, mutt with my parents and all I was. Yeah. This Bombay became a very new place, and I kind of lost myself.
Gave you a culture shock and
culture shock. I went into a shell. I failed.
An urban setting.
And then somehow I could not pick up my academics at all thereafter. I somehow passed SSC with about 58%. Then went on to arts. I was not comfortable. I went to science and shifted to commerce. And at 18, I took up a job, vacation job in the Union Bank and all. And life was, intolerable almost. I said I was so happy and I was doing so well back in Karnataka, in coastal Karnataka, and what is this? What have I come to? At which time, fortuitously, I got a break in theatre, in Konkani theatre, 3-act play. From there, over the next 5 years, I would do plays in Kannada also, and then Hindi, Marathi. And in about 5 years' time, I have participated in various roles because my gurus were like that. They used to give me very challenging roles, different roles, not always the main role. But about 50 plays I participated in, then kind of trained me for what? The answer came that when I was selected for a Kannada film, and I was asked to come to Bangalore and contact so and so one Mr. Y.N. Krishnamurthy here in Deccan or Prajavani. Right. He will guide you. Yes. I met Y.N.K. here and then TSR here. And I used to come for shootings here for films. I would stay in a hotel, and say I would come for about say 20, 25 days. I would have worked for about 15, 18 days. Rest of the time I was free. So when I was free, I had no friends here. So I used to visit Deccan Herald Prajavani. He sit here, see the press, how the press functioned, how the newspapers come out, and the machines at that time. And then, of course, how, your library, there's a huge library you have.
Yes.
I used to study a lot of books, and YNK also gave me a lot of Kannada books which I had missed out on in my school, say 9th, 10th, 11th onwards. So I picked up.
I think that's
my
also
last
the,
years here in Prajavani and Deccan Herald.
I think initially you were working with G.V. Iyer with Hamsagite, which was much acclaimed film.
Correct.
What do you remember of those days? How did you actually proceed from, say, art house to commercial cinema, and how did that happen?
In the sense, when I worked for, I had Sankalpa was the first film. I went back to Bombay, and I was doing Hindi theatre with Satyadev Dubey. He put me on to Shyam Benegal, who was doing his first film. He was doing ad films till then. In his first film, he cast me. And that's how it started, and then I would do a film here, a film there.
Right.
I did a film with G.V. Iyer, Hamsagite, where I had some 17, 18 songs, music for the first time. And late Mr. Balamurali Krishna lent me his voice for the songs and all, and I had to rehearse them. I was quite familiar with Hindustani music, and then of course the popular Hindi film music, etc. But I have not much of knowledge of what is Carnatic music. Yes, that I had to sit with some couple of guides who taught me that music, made me sing those lines, memorize those lines, those sargam, also.
Like you had to sing Himadri
Sute Pahimam.
Pahimam.
Yeah, that's how it. Then I did some more art films, one with Lankesh, one with M.S. Satyu. Here and there, and again with
Rama and Anurupa, I think.
Anurupa.
And, so, what was how did you balance art house cinema with the other kind of cinema? I mean, were the expectations different, and did you go to these directors with a certain an approach that would be customized for each director? How did you approach these two kinds of filmmaking?
I think on hindsight, I think that theatre trained me for all the various roles I got, whether it is art house or then, I mean, in art house films the payment is low, and it's only one can, as an actor I found that one can make money only in commercial films. And I had an offer again from a commercial film called Devara Kannu, and I had a very meaty role in that. Y.R. Swami was the director. I worked with him in that film, and that brought, there was a song also for me in the film. And I played the tabla in that film.
Right.
And that brought me a little, more people came to know of me. And I was doing this balancing act of Hindi and Kannada and art films mostly. When this got this break in Kannada, commercial Kannada, Devara Kannu, I was noticed a little more, and then I got a very big break in Kavaludaari, which
that was a very big hit
with Kalpana.
And the songs are remembered to this day.
Yeah. So that film did it for me, I think, the commercial sector of Kannada films.
So Kavaludaari was your first big successful film in the commercial circuit.
Yes.
And then you got many more films. I think you got to work with Ravichandran. And
that was much later.
That was much later.
Because after Kavaludaari, I had films like Naninna Bidalare.
Yeah. With Lakshmi, I think you did a series of films, about 20 to 25 films. I think.
Yeah.
A lot of very successful films and sort of small town romances.
Correct.
When you came here, and then when you had to do two kinds of cinema, who were your role models? Did you look up to some actors, some directors in Indian cinema, in Kannada cinema, and in world cinema? Who were you looking up to?
No, I had not seen any of those films as such. Nothing influenced me as such. Because in theatre, the grounding which I got was in different plays, in different languages. And each role would be different, each play would be different. So I was almost trained. So and then I found that so far as an actor is concerned, he has to give off his best, whether it's an art house film or a commercial house film. And I found that's the only approach. And I did not look up to anybody. But I had seen a number of English films in my young days, as I was doing theatre and in my school, college days also. And I saw the distinct distinction between these our Indian commercial films and the English films.
Right.
And I felt that they are more natural, and so I slowly took to that kind of naturalistic acting and developed it. In all the plays I followed that school,
Yeah.
which I had seen, the realistic school of acting. I mean, there was no school as such, but my approach to all roles was on the basis of reality, naturality.
And so when you came here, you said earlier that you found some of the acting styles over the top, and then you
Yes,
came
then,
and you were seen as
different.
somebody who underplayed your roles.
Yeah, not underplayed, realistically in the sense. There were criticism at that time also. What are you doing? Then are you doing some Bengali acting? I said, what is Bengali acting? That is underplaying. That was the. I said, I'm not underplaying. If there is emotion, I don't fight shy of it. There's no underplaying. Realistic playing. That's my approach. And then I said, in this realistic way of acting, I made that my style, without dependence on any mannerisms or any star-like kind of approaches and poses and all kind of things.
Yes.
So I give stress to naturality.
So in a
Which
sense,
almost like acting should be behaving,
right.
not acting as such. It should not even appear as acting. It should be so natural, it should be behavioral.
Right. So in that sense, I think you've been a Renaissance man. You sing, you play the tabla, you write. I think you've written a very moving book about your brother Shankar, Nanna Tamma Shankara. Tell us about your musical and literature tastes. I mean, who are the writers you admire? Who are the musicians you like?
In the sense, I used to observe a lot and absorb a lot at that time. So in my ashram days or mutt days and all, in the mantras or in the bhajans, there is always a tune there is a tune which one sings, which one plays on the harmonium. And then there is rhythm sense in with the tabla. So that, as I said earlier, that was a little Hindustani style.
Right.
Like in popular films and all, say, singers like Muhammad Rafi or Manna Dey, Kishore Kumar, Mukesh, and then the ladies of great singers like Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle. I used to listen to those songs and learnt a lot of new words in Hindi, Urdu. And with having grown basic singing, I knew it from my days in ashram and things. So I used to sing in the ashram also and play on the tabla and all in the mutt and then the mantra. Even mantras have a sing-song kind of way delivery. But with the mantras, you are made to pronounce words very clearly, very spashtavagi. Uchchara spashtavagirbekku. Alpa prana, mahaprana. So that was the thing. But all of that permutation, combination came in handy as an actor.
Right.
On stage also, in cinema also. See, any tune like, that's why I said in Hamsagite, I was not so familiar with Carnatic music. Then I learned to appreciate its beauty through the voice of Balamurali Krishna.
Right.
So that's a lot of observation, lot of absorption.
Right.
And basically in mantras also there is always a rhythm in the mantra. Like there's a tune also, which is not very pronounced.
Yes.
Like you say, Rudra, you have to say, Om Namaste Rudra Manyava Uto Taitave Namaha Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. This is there is a thing. For everything. Intonation.
But you're also a great admirer of Bheem St Joshi's music.
That was much later.
Later. You also sang or lip synced to one of his songs, Bhagyada Lakshmi Barama.
He sang for two of our films.
Yes.
Bhagyada Lakshmi Barama Vandu and then Yadava Niba.
Yeah.
That was later in the 80s.
80s,
subsequently.
Nodi Swami Navi.
And we had the good fortune of his visiting our house also here in Bangalore. And by then I had almost all his cassettes. Also Balamurali Krishna's all his cassettes. And I used to stock it in the car, and whenever I used to drive, those days when this traffic was not there, or shootings to Mysore, Mangalore, anywhere else, one would go in the car with all these cassettes.
Your collaboration with Shankar is legendary. I mean, we all know about all the great things you did. Malgudi Days, for instance, and Sanket Studio was a very big landmark.
That was around 85.
In the 80s.
Before that, we made a film together, Minchina Ota anta, first our own production.
Thriller, yes.
And subsequently, Accident anta, another film.
Yes.
And then he moved on to Malgudi Days, where I figured also.
Yes.
So that again, I saw that. That was the first time I was acting for. So whether it is theatre, cinema, or even TV, an actor has to do the same thing.
Right.
There's no difference to him. His performance has to be to the hilt. And as natural as possible, as my approach was. So I was comfortable with all the three media.
What was your experience of setting up Sanket Studio and bringing the music industry, for instance, from Chennai to Bangalore, getting Bangalore musicians involved in film music production?
Yes, yeah.
What was the experience like? What were the
It
challenges?
was very difficult in the sense, the musicians here also were very, very competent. Only to give film music, it's not like a concert music. In a concert, be it Carnatic or Hindustani or any, one has to, give a continuous program, so 2 hours, 3 hours. In cinema, it's not like that. It's actually, you have to give a strip of music for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes. So that training these musicians had to be important. So we did bring some gurus for them. One or two from Chennai, one or from Mumbai, and they pick it up. And now it's all the musicians are here. But now actually technology and for putting a film on a satellite, they have to go to Chennai or Mumbai yet.
Right. But it couldn't have been easy setting up a studio in those days.
Because it had to start from scratch and to train the musicians and all. And people like particularly Hamsalekha and all, they cooperated with us fully. He and then Vaidyanathan was who gave music for Malgudi Days, and particularly Hamsalekha set up a kind of a cabin for himself in our studio, and he trained a lot of musicians here, from local. That's how it started in '85. We started that in '85. Unfortunately, my brother had an accident and he passed away in 1990.
Yes.
Then we ran it for another 10 years with the help with my wife's help. Then ultimately we closed down because the technology changes so fast. Within 15 years, our machines were in the studio were obsolete.
That was a devastating loss, and when Shankar died in an accident, and you've written about it in your book. Around that time, you started acting in comedy films. Many of them were very successful commercially. Ganesha Namaduve, Gauri Ganesha. Was humor your way of coping with this devastating loss?
So I don't know, I've never given a thought in the way you are putting it, but it happened that way. It started at the end of around 89, 90 and all. But in theatre, I was particularly trained. My forte was comedy, in theatre particularly. And Mr. R.D. Kamath, late Mr. R.D. Kamath had trained me for this in the comedy. Then even in other films which I had done earlier, like in Kavaludaari and other films like Dhairya Lakshmi and all, there were bits of comedy scenes. Comedic scenes were there in all these. But for a full-time comedy, the industry people were ready, but the industry as such that a full-time comedy will not run. But that was falsified by people like Ganesha Namadve, Gauri Ganesha, and then Yarigu Helbedi, Udubhava, Henti Helbedi,
where your mischievous side was highlighted. Yes, many films. Right. Many of your younger fans are not aware of your political side. You were very closely associated with Ramakrishna Hegde and the Janata Party, and then you became a minister in J.H. Patel's cabinet. You were the Bangalore Development Minister. What do you remember of those days, and where do you stand politically today?
That was kind of, in the sense, all my interest started with the JP movement in Mumbai when I was in Bombay. When he asked the youngsters to come and jump into the fray of politics. Because so long as you think politics is dirty, it will remain dirty. Unless new waves come, new people come into it, politics will not change. It's in that spirit that I got involved in politics. But then I found out by and by that I was really not cut out. And when I was minister, particularly Mr. Patel asked me, now that you are a minister, don't act for the duration that you are minister. And for the first time, I really felt that my calling is really acting and not this. And so, given the first chance I got, I left politics. And today I'm just, I have my views, I read a lot about politics, I'm very interested, but it's all limited to only being a voter.
Yeah, I mean, you were a Lohiaite.
No, I was not.
No?
I was.
JP, they were the JP movement.
Through JP movement.
But your mentors were Lohiaite.
I was a Janataite.
Okay, right.
Because what else, I mean, there were all kind of colors in that. So old Congress was there, then for a time socialists were there, then Janasangh also was there. So it was a kind of a
mix.
Mix. So Janataite.
Right. Where do you politically stand today? What are your views? I mean, have you been active, voicing your views about how the Modi government has turned out in the last 4 to 5 years?
No, I have not. In a sense, I don't voice my opinion as such, but given a chance to, voice an opinion or anything, I take up some films where I will. Like, for instance, now we have done a film like Kavaludaari. It makes a very big statement, generally, about the nation, state of the nation, state of the state, Karnataka. And I have a very important role in that. So I play such roles, which give me satisfaction. At the same time, they make the viewers aware of certain things. So I don't.
So what you want to say, you say through your films.
Yes, as far as possible, because we have seen in the last 70 years, so many governments have come and gone, so much of promise is held, and yet, the El Dorado is yet to dawn.
In the last couple of years, you appeared in hit films, Kannada hit films like Godi Banna Sadharana Maikattu and then Sarkari Hiriya Prathamika Shale. Roles are being written for you now, and people are very keen, young directors are very keen on casting you in their films. What differences do you see between, say, the era of Dorai Bhagwan and the other directors that you worked with, Y.R. Swamy, and the new crop of directors?
That was then, that was back in the 70s and 80s. Even then there were, Bhagwan, of course, particularly Dorai Bhagwan and all, made films based on novels. Like Putana Kanagal was one person who made films based on novels. So Bhagwan also was doing this one particularly. And that was, then there was another crop of people who also were like K.V. Jairam. I have done some 8 films with him. And he also worked on the basis of novels and things. But even otherwise, there were writers like, seeing me only, for instance, Uday Shankar wrote that Narada Vijaya.
Which was
which was a
comedy where you
popular,
did a double role. And it was a very
successful. Narada on the one hand, he pitted mythology vis-a-vis the present.
Yes.
And then Narada, ultimately, if you read it, it's Vijay. One character is Vijay, one is Narada. So Narada Vijaya means ultimately Narada is victorious over Vijay also.
Right.
So those times also there were scripts which were written just for me.
For you.
And now the youngsters like Hemant and Rishabh.
Yes.
And there are others also who are trying, like Baladingal Bala, Sunil Kumar Desai adopted that subject from a novel.
Right.
That also. And the funny films were all with Pani Ramchandra and Nakti Hadi Chandrasekhar, Dinesh Babu. These are all youngsters. They also goes good. But now the times have changed. And the very expectation of the younger generation is for the content of a film. And that's how Godi Banna by Hemant, now he is the man who has made this film again, Kavaludaari.
Yes.
So I just go take it as it comes, kind of an approach.
If I were to ask you to name 5 of the most satisfying films that you've done, which would they be?
Well, I have, in a sense, My films with Shyam Benegal were all very satisfying, very different roles. He gave me very different subjects. Then with Satyu, I did a very good film called Bara.
Bara, yes.
Then Kanneshwar Rama.
Kanneshwara Rama was the other film.
And then these are films. Then with Bhagavan, there is a series of Kavaludaari, Benkiya Bale, Bidugade Bedi, Chandanada Gombe, and with Vijay Reddy, a film like Naninna Bidalare. And I had made some 3-4 more films with him also. So these are all. Beladingal Bale was one unique role. And subsequently in the 21st century, you know, Yogaraj Bhatt, I've done half a dozen films with him also.
Including the runaway hit Mungaru Male.
Mungaru Male. And so on and off, good roles come the generation, they all, now more so. After these films which you just named, became hits. I get a lot of more scripts.
Right.
A lot of youngsters are approaching me.
You also wanted to do a film set in the 12th century about Basava and Bijjala.
Yeah.
You know, maybe co-star with Vishnuvardhan, I think.
So I said earlier that I used to watch a lot of films. I used to a lot of English films particularly. And then I had seen a film based on a I think play by John Anui, Beckett. It's about what happened in England in history.
Church versus
about
state.
The church versus the state, religion and
right.
power, politics. So I had seen that. That is one film which haunted me. And I saw it some 25, 26 times. That impressed I was. Then there were films in English which I was like David Lean's films like Dr. Zhivago, Ryan's Daughter, Lawrence of Arabia, and the Bridge on the River Kwai, Passage to India. You know, all this. One better than the other, all of them. I was very much influenced by them. When I came into Karnataka and I read plays now on Basava Bijjala, Girish Karnad has written Taledanda he has written, Lankesh has written, Kambar has written one. So that was also in this, I had seen that Beckett I was influenced by. So I had proposed to Vishnu, let's do a film on this. And I had told Shankar also, Shankar, you direct this. Cast us. So then I offered it to Vishnu. Vishnu, if you want to play Bijjala, I will play Basava. If you want to play Basava, I will play Bijjala.
Right. That would have been a great film.
Not to be.
Yeah. What is the secret of your energy? I mean, you're still a sprightly 70, and do you follow a fitness regime, or is there a diet that you that you would recommend?
There is a diet in the sense which my diet was a vegetarian diet basically. Having grown up in Mutt and Ashram, which my mother continued at home also, and which my wife continues also. But then right from the beginning I was, Vantara Shistina Sipahi antara. I was in my school days, I was very conscious of having to be, ವ್ಯಾಯಾಮ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ. In school I was in ACC, in college I was in NCC. I was about to step into territorial army, which was the next step. When theatre, took me away. And so in that sense, today I have a lot of sense of fulfillment in doing a police inspector's role in Kavaludaari. Because this film has been dedicated to women and men in uniform by the director, by Hemant.
Right.
It's produced by Ashwini and Puneet Rajkumar. And in this, he says that you must pay more respect to people in uniform. They were, like it is maybe the military, Navy, Air Force, Army, the police. So in 70 years' time, we have lost some 26,000 soldiers on the borders, some 35,000 policemen. And that's around 500 per month.
Right.
More than in a 365 days, more than 500 police have been dying in the line of duty. Yes. So many, even traffic police, they stand, there is a traffic violation, boldly he goes to stop, he is hit and the car runs away. So many, so we are not really, and there is a lot of they are treated with scorn, whatever the reason. But so now there are doctors we see, they are quote, if they are not in surgery or in the dispensaries or clinics. Right. Nurses, 18 hours a day they are in uniform. A driver, conductor, even these security men, they are in uniform. Because that uniform symbolizes a kind of a discipline, then kind of a commitment and dedication. Right. So Hemant has, I play a retired inspector in this. I found it very fulfilling that here is after such a long time, someone has made a film which says the film is dedicated to women and men in uniform. And I thought, what a noble kind of an idea, and that's what the film is about. Okay.
Would you sing two lines of your favorite film song? Since you're a singer, we take the liberty of asking you this, of the one song that haunts you all the time.
Oh, there are
There are many songs.
many songs, but I have basically, whenever I go to ashram, I sit in the bhajan hall and sometimes sing 3-4 bhajans at a time. And but mostly, I mean, whatever I used to sing in my childhood, I have forgotten. So I started singing Bheem St Josh's song. The one particularly that haunts me is a very mysterious song written by one of the saint poets. So it says a lot. I mean, it's up to the interpreter, how you interpret it. So the lines, it goes like, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ನನ್ನ ತಂದೆ, ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ತಂದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಫಾದರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ಅಪ್ಪ ತಿರು ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ ನಿರ್ದೋಷನೇ, ಅಪ್ಪ ತಿರು ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ ನಿರ್ದೋಷನೇ, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ಆಪಾದ ಮೌಳಿ ಎನ್ನೋಳು ಬಹಳ ಅಗಲ, ಶ್ರೀಪತಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯ ಉದದೀಧೆಯ, ಶ್ರೀಪತಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯ ಉದದೀಧೆಯ, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ಜಗದಘಹರನೆಂಬೋ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಬಿರುದು, ತ್ರಿಗುಣಾತೀತನೆ ರಾಮ ರಾಮ, ತ್ರಿಗುಣಾತೀತನೆ ರಾಮನೇ ಗುಣಧಾಮನೇ, ತ್ರಿಗುಣಾತೀತನೆ ರಾಮ ರಾಮ, ತ್ರಿಗುಣಾತೀತನೆ ರಾಮನೇ ಗುಣಧಾಮನೇ, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ಇನ್ನೆನ್ನ ಕಲುಷವಾರಿಸೋ ಭವತಾರಿಸೋ, ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಭಯ ಶಮನ, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ ಎನ್ನಯ ತಂದೆ, ಅಪ್ಪ ತಿರು ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ ನಿರ್ದೋಷನೇ, ಅಪ್ಪ ತಿರು ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ ನಿರ್ದೋಷನೇ, ತಪ್ಪು ನೋಡದೆ ಬಂದೆಯ.
Thank you so much. If you had to give a one-line advice to aspiring actors, what would it be?
Be natural. Acting is behaving. Full stop.
Thank you for coming over to Deccan Herald. It's been a pleasure and an
Thank
honor
you.
having
Thank you all the staff also, and then the management, and so thank you so much.